Prosecutors argued Meta knowingly put profits before the protection of children.
The conduct, as I said, was repeated again and again over an entire decade in a kid's life. That's forever. That it was done and made with knowledge that serious harm would result, and it did.
We believe the evidence has shown that Meta works incredibly hard to protect users, including teens.
In accordance with the civil penalty instruction and the instructions as a whole, how many willful violations did Meta commit by engaging in unfair or deceptive trade practice? The jury's answer is 37,500.
Big tech critics hail big tobacco moment in landmark social media verdict against Meta, the parent company of Facebook, and Google, intentionally being addictive and depressing and controlling. Yeah, and parents let their kids do that. I'm not defending big tech, but once you go down this slippery slope of, the way they did it, yeah, and you let your kids do that, give me a break. What's sick is Trump doesn't have Elon Musk on his new big tech board. He's got the good guys off the board and has put his arch enemy, Zuckerberg, on the board and a bunch of other garbage. And people are like, oh, there you are, throwing Trump under the bus again. Zuckerberg got $400 million to create the databases of dead people and illegals and all that to steal the 2020. Okay, fine, I love Zuckerberg if Trump says so. Got Todd Blanche, the Democrat, run the DOJ. This ain't good. And I'm going to bet you about it. Meta must pay $375 million for violating New Mexico's law in child exploitation case.
Companies have been very effective in using something called Section 230, which is a law in this country that protects the companies who have social media from being liable for things that their users post on the site. What these two cases focused on is how the company manipulated the algorithm and developed products like Infinite Scroll in order to give kids an addictive product that would keep them on the site and keep them coming back. And what ended up happening is those kids would use those addictive products and then ultimately have suicidal thoughts or potentially body dysmorphia, or they'd be getting unsolicited messages from child predators. And the company is knowingly, according to documents revealed in both of these cases, understands that this is a problem that they have. And both juries found that they did not do enough to stop this. So again, a huge landmark here, not for the dollar figure, but for the significance of the rulings.
Government shouldn't be involved in the First Amendment. We shouldn't have internet. All over the world, they're bringing internet IDs. They are protecting kids. Hey, you put the parental controls on, or don't let your kids on devices. Control what you give your kids, folks. It's not the state's job. Because Zuckerberg's a predator preying on your children. Blackmurn's Trump America AI Act repeals Section 230, expands AI liability, and mandates age verification. No, it's the AI Dictatorship Act that Trump tried to get passed before he got back in office. Republicans did, but he pushed. And then he signed an executive order on that makes big tech and AI above the law. Nobody can sue them. Congress can. Local legislatures can't challenge them. Citizens can't sue them. And then the executive branch can let AI do whatever it wants. It's Congress has created the AI liability protection dictatorship bill to enforce Trump's executive order that is wrong. That's the real headline. Overhyped. This is some good news. New polls suggest Americans are shunning AI as a breaking news source. They're rejecting it. They don't want it. Well, I don't just believe polls. Oh, I like the proof. The biggest video generating tool is no more. Is the AI bubble bursting? ChatGPT has shut down its AI system because not enough people are using it. It costs too much money, and it's a failure. People are sick of it. U.S. bans foreign-made consumer routers over cybersecurity concerns. I told people decades ago China has all these remote control kill chips and everything. Now it's all admitted. And then it just continues. Apple forces UK iPhone age checks in iOS 6.26.4. Yeah, the UK, Australia, they're all making Apple and other companies do age verifications. Hey, then adults have to do it. And now it's Internet ID that in the UN Gates-run standardization will be used for the cashless society, the social credit score, the grid. So people are like, don't you want to not let kids look at porn? Yeah, if you're dumb enough to give your kid a phone that doesn't have parental controls, you should be thrown off a bridge.
Yes, and I agree. And welcome to the show. Oh, let me get the right screen in here. Welcome to the show. I like that, actually. Like behind Not tonight. Anyway, we're not going to make any more sudden changes on our way in. Not today. Welcome to the show. It is March 29th, 2026. Thank you for being here. Got sound. We're doing good. We're rolling. We're rolling here. Man, we got a hell of a show for you tonight on this Sunday special. I should put special Sunday night broadcast because that's what it really going to be. What it's really going to be is a special Sunday night broadcast where we're going to get into some stuff that nobody's talking about it except for a couple people. Barron's talking about it. Candace is kind of touching on it slightly. She's not doing deep dives into the Charlie Kirk assassination. And a couple others are like, kind of like reminding us that it's still going on, but nobody's really going, hey, who in the F shot Charlie Kirk? Well, we got some stuff for you tonight, and you'd be surprised to find out what you find out. And this is going to start tonight. We're going to do we got a couple things first before we get to Charlie Kirk. And then, because we got the Iran war. Oh my God, we're all going to fucking die. I mean, we're all going to get blown up, right? What they said today, and we covered it last night, that the reason why they're going into, you might need that. The reason why they're going into Iran is for the uranium, but I thought it was to make sure they didn't have a nuclear bomb. It just keeps changing. So we know what's going on. It's just like Iraq, it's just like Afghanistan. It's just like probably every other war that we've ever been in our whole entire existence because of, I heard it today. Let's see, what was it? The blue and white people. Blue and white people. I swear I'm going to be like Valhalla and I'm going to get a fucking Israel flag so we could put it up so we could talk about Israel without getting nuked off of whichever platform that wants to nuke us, because that's what they do. As soon as you start talking about our greatest ally, next thing you know, you're like, I don't know why I only had 3 people watching my show last night, because they just nuked the shit out of you. Anyway, all right. So John's with us tonight.
I'm here.
Hey, John's here. We're having a blast. Guess I should have adjusted your camera, but I think you're all right. I mean, it's good. You got your bow behind you. You're rolling. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So I've done a deep dive into some stuff that's been investigated for the last 6 or 9 months, really since Charlie was assassinated. There's these people that are not real known. They're not really well known. And when I say not really well known, a lot of people don't know about the information that they've came across. Like, walking down the street one day and then I stepped on a thumbtack and it hurt like shit. And I didn't know what was going on. I took my boot off and I had a thumbtack in my boot. And I'm like, wow, how'd that happen? This is what we're running into. People that just are relentless and they don't give up and they just keep pushing for the truth. And they've stumbled across some stuff. And whether they stumbled across it because they're smart or because they're like me and they're just dumb and kind of retarded, I don't know. I'm not allowed to say that in my house, so I say it out here because my wife don't like it when I call myself retarded. Okay, that's true. Anyway,
Good woman, man. Good woman.
Good woman. Good woman. Let's talk about the Iran war.
What do we want to talk about it?
Well, yesterday you watched the show, right? Last night.
I did.
Hegseth was making a funny joke about his mini bunker, and I'm like, you're the Secretary of War and you're talking about you're building yourself a bunker, not a really big one because you can't afford a big one, but you're building yourself a little one. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Of all the people talking about that, unless you're going to tell everybody bunker down, you should not be saying that on national Fox News. You should not be saying
You shouldn't be
I'm
saying
building a
anything.
bunker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that really, and I'll probably pull that one here in a minute when I get a second. The Joe Kent thing is not going away. And then now we have speech therapists, people that are, taking, they're, obviously they're, it's weird that we have people that are either on this side or that side instead of like, why can't you just tell the truth? Regardless of where it goes, where it ends up, and how the outcome is going to be. Why can't you just stay in the middle? And if it's Trump, if it's whoever, Elon or JD Vance or whoever it is, call them out. Doesn't fucking matter who they are. This is our country, and they work for us. And
Yep.
sooner you people start realizing that, and the better off we're going to be. And I don't like the whole thing where there's some people, and I'll respect them for what I can, but they're literally out there, touting or, for Iran, and they're American citizens, and it's just not okay. We are in a quagmire.
Yep.
And
Once
so
again,
we're in a quagmire. And I truly believe that if Trump would have got good information, we wouldn't be in a quagmire. But we are, because Trump is gullible, first of all, and his ego is bigger than any of us all put together. And he's gotten duped, and now he's in it deep, and he can't get out of it because now he has to show peace through strength. And if he shows any weakness, the deep state will take over. And which, by the way, the deep state's already taken over. Obviously, we could see this. We're getting ready to drop 10 to 20,000 troops on the ground in Israel. I mean, in Iran, for Israel.
for Israel.
For Israel.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I got not much tonight on this whole Israel war thing. The Iran war. Not a lot, but we got to cover a couple things because I think it's important. One of the things that came across my feed today was this mapping. Did you see the mapping thing?
I did.
So, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is talking about the map, Greenland, all the northern hemisphere. And he's talking about it being like part of the fort. It's part of the I'm not a military guy, so I don't know the terminology, but it's part of the force field for safety. That's why they were talking about that's why they were talking about
Buying Greenland.
China. I mean, Canada, Greenland, and then south, the border south and all that stuff. That's why they were talking about that. So they had some protection on past our borders to protect us from, exactly what's going on.
Western Hemisphere.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
yeah.
Yeah. The
So-
Monroe Doctrine.
Monroe Doctrine, exactly. And whether I'm not a big war guy. I mean, I think that one of the biggest mistakes I probably made as a youngster was not joining the military. I would have, that would have been something that if I knew now, well, it's two-sided, because if I knew now what I didn't know then that I wish I would have known then that I knew now, I probably wouldn't have went to the military, because they're always fighting other people's wars. They went into Afghanistan to protect the poppy fields. I mean, just all the stuff that we've known now that, 9/11 was an inside job and it was not who they said it was. And they had a patsy for that and this, all the things that we find out when we open our eyes or, maybe put the glasses on like Rowdy Piper did. He puts the glasses on and he sees it, obey, right?
They live.
So yeah, anyway, I think that's where we're going to start right now. Let's play this clip. I hope everybody's having a great evening. We are going to get into some stuff tonight, and it's going to carry on back. We're going to do some tonight. Just to be clear, we're going to get you warmed up tonight, and then Friday we'll do a deeper dive into the Charlie Kirk thing, and we're not letting up. It's like I'm going to I think it's time to just put my foot on the gas and not let up. My understanding is And when you pay attention to everything going on, and I'm going to say this real quick before we get started here. When you look around at what Bongino's doing, what Cash Patel's doing, now Trump, all the cabinet, everybody's doing all these funky things. You got, you have the press secretary coming out and cleaning up messes. That's what their job is, but cleaning up messes, all this stuff going on, and talking about how we're the greatest thing since sliced cheese, and we are the great superpower. But we don't need to be lied to. Tell us the truth.
We can handle it.
We can handle the truth. They think that we're stupid and we can't handle the truth. And so anyway, my point in that is that they're lying to us and we're smarter than that, and it makes them look stupid. That's the truth. Makes them look stupid, not us, because we could see it clear as day. They're lying to us about just about everything, and they've always lied to us, and that's why I stayed out of politics for so long, because they just tell us whatever we want to hear, get in office, and then don't do shit that they've ever said that they would do. And we know this. We had hope that Trump was going to come in, he was going to make a difference, he was going to make some things happen, and he was going to free our country up. Remember Bannon was talking about you got a seat at the table. And I think the first 6 months we did, and then they got rid of Elon Musk, and we took a dive. And I think it was because now, looking at it from 30,000 foot view, Epstein files demolished everything. Period. And I don't know. One hand, and remember, I'm gonna always tell you what the fuck the truth is, regardless if I don't like it. I was like Trump. I'm ready to get tattoos, Trump 2024 and all that shit. I didn't, thank God. But what I see now is that we are lied to by everybody. And it's unfortunate that we're lied to by everybody. And some of the things that we see now with the Epstein files, on one hand, I'm going to be delicate. I'm going to be kind of delicate with this one. On one hand, if the Democrats had anything in 16 or 20 or 24 on Trump around the Epstein files, you'd think that they would have leaked it out, put it out on, out in the world, social media, so that they could have done anything to make sure Trump didn't get into office, and they didn't do that. But then on the other hand, you listen to some of the back channels, how they're talking about, they have this information that hasn't hit yet, that's going to hit, that's going to destroy Trump and all, you hear all this stuff all the time. And
it keeps coming. It's always
even Iran, Iran said today or yesterday that they have some Epstein files that are getting ready to drop on Trump.
Yep.
And so, it's like, is it propaganda? Is it not? You can't believe anything. My grandma and grandpa used to say, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. So, I mean, grain of salt. We're just taking it with grain of salt.
They were saying Assad and Netanyahu and the Epstein files, all that stuff. And that was coming from a general with Iran. It was like, oh, yeah.
Iranian general?
Yep. Like, you guys, your leader got played. It's like, oof.
Well, yeah, we know that now. Yeah. We know that. And do I think that Trump was played in a way that he's compromised? It doesn't look like anything good from the last 6 months. And I don't know if it's just this 3D chess that he's playing, and he's keeping his cards close to his chest.
I don't know, man.
We're not. Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're not letting up. We're all gas and no brake. So we're just gonna keep going. And whatever it is, all right, whatever it is, it is. And I have to fucking listen. I was telling my brother-in-law, who's moderate Democrat today. I was talking to him. He came by for a little while today, my brother-in-law. And I was like, hey, man, what the hell's going on, man? I have to face your mother at some point. And she's a Democrat. They fucking talk shit to me for years about this. And I'm like, I have to face her at some point. You got to give me something. Come on. You got to help me out here. Cause he, you know, him and I are he's Democrat, but him and I, we can have a conversation and a real conversation, a real educational conversation about real stuff. And, you know, nobody gets their feelings hurt and all that bullshit that goes on nowadays. And he was like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. So where are we at? Stand by.
That is why President Trump has drawn a new strategic map from Greenland to the Gulf of America to the Panama Canal and its surrounding countries. At the Department of War, we call this strategic map the Greater North America. Why? Because every sovereign nation and territory north of the equator, from Greenland to Ecuador and from Alaska to Guyana, is not part of the global South. It is our security perimeter in this great neighborhood that we all live in. Each one of these countries border either the North Atlantic or the North Pacific. Each one of these countries sits north of the two basic geographic barriers that exist in this region, the Amazon and the Andes Mountains. This is basic geography that we don't teach in schools as much as we should. And it restores our north-south relations, and we must get it right. In the north, the United States must enhance posture and presence in cooperation with you and our sovereign partners to defend our shared immediate security perimeter. In the south, meaning south of the equator, the other side of this great neighborhood, we will strengthen partnerships through increased burden sharing. This will enable you to take your greater role to defend the South Atlantic and the South Pacific, and to secure critical infrastructure and resources in partnership with us and other Western nations. This is what we did in World War II, just like we sunk ships with torpedoes in World War II. At the Department of War, we called it the quarter sphere defense. And we will do this again. If we're serious about our
I'm checking to see if that is C-SPAN or if that's me. So just give me a second here. If that's my shitty connection or if it's C-SPAN. It's C-SPAN. It's not me. I'm rolling like I'm jamming over here. So it ain't, I'm good. Hey, we work hard on having fucking internet around here. I mean, so yeah. Yeah, I mean we're rolling over. Yeah, our upload and download speeds are well in the no problem area. So anyway, all right, I got a little thing coming in, dude. My kid might have got me. He's been coughing for weeks, dude. Anyway,
Gotcha.
Water and take some ivermectin and some horse paste. I'll be fine tomorrow. I'm on one tonight. I'm telling you. I missed you, John. All right. So
now you gave it to me.
Here I'm fucking around here. All right. So anyway, what are we doing? Let's get to it. Let's get going. So what do you think of that? So with all the stuff that they were talking about Greenland and all that stuff, it makes me wonder if there's. And this is where I kind of like go, okay, so if we get past all the conspiracies and all the bullshit and the Iran and this and all this bullshit with Epstein's alive and if we get past all that, I mean, and Erica Kirk is she'll whatever, all the stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's so much bullshit out there, and some of it's real and some of it's not, and you got to pick and choose where you get your information from, obviously. And I do try my best to do that. And my favorite thing to do, I'll just tell you, while we're here, is I will pull clips from like X. And then when I, like the night before or whatever, I'll pull clips because I pull clips all day long. Mm-hmm. And then, then you go in there to download them. because
Gone.
through the email, no, sometimes they're gone, yeah, but mostly I go back and I can look at it, and if it's questionable,
Yeah.
the people on X, man, they flag it quick. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about X, especially because
Especially now, man.
Yeah.
Before it was a fucking propaganda bad
but
for the left.
the American people, or the people, maybe not just the American people, but the people on X, they do police their own, they do well. So I'm grateful for that. But my point was about Greenland and what was the one down Panama Canal?
Yeah.
Obviously, we fucked that up, the Canada thing, by calling it, saying 51st state, and that was our fault. That a socialist ended up in office after the gay dude got removed from, what was his name?
The hell was his name? That's how unimportant he was.
No, but he was actually pretty important because of who he was hanging out with, Xi Jinping, and Soros, and I mean he was involved. He was involved. What the hell was his name? You know me, if I don't look. Trudeau, yeah, it was Trudeau for sure. Trudeau, and so then they put this new socialist in here. I mean, worse than Trudeau, at least.
Really?
Oh God, yes. And so anyway, we blew that. Trump sometimes doesn't think, and he acts like he knows some shit, and he's smart business, but he's not smart when you say things on the internet. It doesn't go away. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
When you say
that's what I was hoping he would learn from the first is shut the fuck up sometimes. You know what I mean? Some things don't need to be said, and then it's just kindling for the fire.
Yeah,
you get people going and shit. So I mean, wishful thinking.
So what do you think about you heard about the Gerald Ford?
Oh yeah.
They lied to us.
Yes.
A couple times. First, it was the bathrooms. Remember, they were saying that the bathrooms were out of commission, and the sailors were plugging up the commodes or plugging up the bathrooms, obviously the shitters or whatever, so that they would get them put out of service, so they wouldn't have to go to Iran. Whatever the propaganda was, I don't know. And then they said there was a fire in the kitchen or fire in the laundry room, something like that. And then Trump actually came out today or maybe yesterday and said the truth, and I got it.
Platform. We knew there was a problem when we noticed at 1 o'clock in the morning, every 32 seconds, another airplane, a very fast plane, was coming off the deck of an aircraft carrier. That's actually the biggest aircraft carrier in the world. And every 32 seconds, boom, boom, boom. And it was 1 o'clock in the morning, so we said, okay, I think we're in trouble. But they were ready for us, Johnny. And we were ready. He said we were ready. And then they hit us, and they came from 17 different angles. They were here, they were there. We ran for our lives. It was over. And
someone in the Pentagon is grinding his teeth so hard that he has basically just flattened that shit. Like someone is losing their mind right now in the Pentagon watching this go, no! Because that is America's largest aircraft carrier. And up until that moment that Trump came on there and said that, the United States government has refused to acknowledge that it was damaged. They claimed it was a fire started by sailors who didn't want to fight. They said the toilets were busted. Like the U.S. government has made every excuse but acknowledge that their biggest, largest airplane carrier was taken out of commission by Iran. And now Trump is here saying, oh, that the captain of the ship told him we had to run for our lives. Do you understand what that has done for morale of the U.S. Navy and the morale of the Iranians? The United States president just came on TV to acknowledge that the so-called superior force got beat so bad they had to run for their lives. Do you know what the Iranians who fired that shot are doing right now? Do you understand the morale? Do you understand how much that speech has put down America and lifted the spirits of Iranians? This is insane.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know if that's real. I want to say that it is. I mean, it looked like it was Trump, but you know, these AI clips, you can never tell what's what. But if that's true, and he's talking about sending troops in to take over islands and stuff, which is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. To put ground troops in Iran is just not. I mean, this isn't going to go well.
Bro. Fuck no, it's not.
And I've talked to some of my sources, and they're like, "Well, I mean, you know, I've gotten it's a mixed bag. So some say that you know our military force is so strong that we can handle whatever." You know what I mean? And then I've heard other ones say that no, that you know, like even
They've been playing in this fight for 40 years. Dude.
Yeah, Eric Prince was on Bannon or something. He was talking about how we want to win, obviously, because it's our people and it's our country. But this was the dumbest thing that Trump has ever done as far as going in and fighting this like this. They could have planned it way better. They could have had a backup plan before they started. And, you know,
what's the exit plan?
Yeah, well, so what happened was I've paid really close attention to this. And what happened was they thought it was a 3-day war. They thought they were going to go in, bang, bang. They were going to fucking surrender and it was going to be over. And
we're 5 weeks into this now.
Yeah. We're not getting
just like COVID. 14 days to bend the curve. 2.5 years, 3 years later, we're still wearing masks. Everything's locked down.
Oh yeah,
this fucking place, dude. You know what I mean? It really blows me away that how it's turned out.
You're gonna love it. Watch. This is our spokesperson.
Okay, let's see.
Ready for the spokesperson?
Yes.
Is everybody ready for the spokesperson?
All right, let me see.
I fucking can't even say his name. I just think he's like the best thing since sliced cheese. Okay.
Troops on the ground. He said no troops on the ground. I don't remember that in any campaign speech either. But why would we need troops on the ground? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and we wouldn't need 300,000 of them. It's this uranium, too. We've got to get the uranium. If it cannot be destroyed, if it cannot be altered, we got to get it. The reason I just said. You can make dirty bombs, and over time you can still make sophisticated missiles. So you need to get to the uranium. That's why I'm reading in the paper, we're talking about the 82nd Airborne, we're talking about these various special forces and the various military services and so forth. He's not talking about sending regular army and infantry in by the hundreds of thousands. The men he's talking about, the units he's talking about, they are specialized. And you know what else? I remember from my days in the Reagan administration. Many of them are trained for a moment like this to try and secure enriched uranium. Many have been trained for moments like this.
Yeah. Send him first.
Yeah. And his little fucking buddy, Shapiro.
Squeaky.
Dude, that dude's an annoying
fuck. One more on the Iran war. Yeah, we're gonna do this right here, just because I've seen this, and it looks like a training video, but we're gonna do it.
These are Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit. They're highly trained and extremely flexible, meaning they can do all kinds of things, from storming beaches and parachuting onto islands to boarding ships for search and seizure operations. Now that the unit has arrived in the Middle East, it's opening up new military options for President Trump. A Marine Expeditionary Unit, or MEU, consists of about 2,200 Marines and sailors that typically operate out of 3 warships. In plain terms, there's a big ship that has a flight deck that can launch and recover different aircraft. Think of it as a mini aircraft carrier. There's a medium-sized ship with a flight deck and a large well deck that can launch watercraft. And there's a smaller ship that transports cargo, crew, and equipment. You can think of those ships as a mobile base that can go anywhere in the world and launch operations quickly without needing to set up some sort of ground base or fly in troops and equipment. The ships themselves are loaded with all kinds of different military hardware to provide a commander with options. There are F-35B fighter jets that can take off from the ship and strike targets. There are armored amphibious combat vehicles that bring Marines from ship to shore, then continue inland for various operations, like seizing and securing buildings. Landing craft air cushions can zip through the water and act as a barge to bring heavy equipment onto land. And tilt-rotor Ospreys and heavy-lift helicopters can be used to transport troops and equipment by air. Plus, the unit also has smaller boats for things like beach raids and smaller aircraft that can enable them to board ships. They also have attack helicopters. Because these units have so many different types of equipment and can perform so many different types of missions, they're often referred to as the military's Swiss Army knife, and they are in high demand around the world. So how could a MEU be used in the war against Iran? There are a bunch of possibilities. For one, the MEU could be used to raid or seize islands that have been militarized by Tehran, like those that sit in the Strait of Hormuz, the vital shipping lane that Iran has essentially shut down. The unit could also be part of an effort to seize Kirk Island, which is a launch point for 90% of Iran's oil exports. The US has already bombed military sites on Kirk, leading some to speculate that Trump could try to seize it. But military strategists say an attempt to capture Kirk would be extremely risky and could also require a lot more troops and equipment. It's also possible the Marines could play a role in a convoy effort to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. They could do that by providing security on ships and also flying aircraft overhead. Alternatively, strategists say Marines could play a role in seizing ships that are carrying Iranian oil. The Marines could also potentially provide security at embassies or launch strikes from their ship. But there's another thing to consider here. The MEU could be used as military deception and basically draw Iran's attention to the Marines while some other operation is launched. The 31st MEU out of Japan is now officially in the Middle East, and the 11th MEU out of California is on its way. Along with them are other troops deploying, like the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, paratroopers that specialize in air assaults. As the war grinds on and the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, the Marines are just some of the boots-on-the-ground troops that are being sent to the Middle East.
Yeah, that's a Wall Street Journal ad, but it looks like a training video to me, but I just wanted to show that. I mean, we have some really good equipment. I mean, but as far as having, if there's 1 million Iranians in Iran ready to go and 1 million backup, you're talking about 2 million ready to go with missiles and all that stuff, and probably all of our equipment, because when we left our stuff in Iraq or Iran, help me out here, Afghanistan.
Most of that weaponry came down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they split it up between them, and then they used that equipment.
That money that Obama fucking gave them on pallets. I know they bought a bunch of that shit.
Well, sure, and they also they take the protege of the weapons and remake them, because like the night vision, nobody had night vision except for the American people. And then now there's night vision everywhere. From my understanding, I don't know if it's as good as ours or whatever, because Chinese build shit like that too, but their stuff is it doesn't last. I mean, it doesn't. The metal's thinner. Everything about the stuff from like China is not built as strong as ours. We know that, but beside the point. So I just wanted to cover that, and I have, before we get into the Charlie Kirk thing, which we're going to do here in a minute. On Joe Rogan, there was this dude on there talking about these unidentified people. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it's making its rounds. And with what we were talking about yesterday with the UAP and the fireballs in the sky and all that stuff. We covered that in length yesterday, and and to think that, because when you think about unidentified people, whatever we call them, whatever we're calling them, Martians, aliens, whatever we're calling them, right? We can't call them aliens now because we call Mexicans or the fucking people coming across the border aliens. So I guess we got to call it fun. Come figure out something else we could call them. Fucking big-eyed people. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, no hair, no eyebrows, no ears. But he was talking about how he literally is a not a sergeant major, but I think he's whatever. He's a master sergeant. And so let's listen to what he has to say before we get into Charlie Kirk thing. This is important stuff, because if you pay attention to the stuff that's going on, how Obama came out before Trump came out and started talking about the UAPs and this whole thing, the alien force, and and they're not at Area 51, all this stuff, because the deception is so strong. But they're having to drop this stuff now, and then you got fireballs coming out of the sky in Texas. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I'm gonna find that clip that was on Sean Ryan, where that dude was talking about in April when Iran and Israel are bombing, and he said that when missiles are being shot and fireballs are coming out of the sky, God was coming back. Do you ever see that?
No.
Oh, I'll find it. I'll find it this week. It's on my other computer. I'll find it. Anyway.
Start taking off towards Quartz Mountain, because right at that cantonment area, there's a hard right. There's a hard right that goes off to Quartz Mountain. And about a mile, half a mile to a mile down that road, it's all dirt road up, by the way, there's this guy. It looks like he's wearing a uniform like we are. He got battle dress uniform on. So he sees us, and he starts to look like he's running, and he's got this really weird run, like his arms are kind of flailing behind him. It's like he was running against the hurricane wind, and it was like he was going to fall over at any time. And I was like, yeah, it's a bit windy today, but it ain't that bad. So it looked really strange. And then I began to notice his skin tone looked like he might be hypothermic. And I'm thinking, oh crap, this dude's been out here. It's freaking freezing out here, because it was a very cold day and the wind was blowing. It was, those cold days where it didn't matter how many layers you had on. And so as we're getting closer, I'm talking to the ranking guy. Hey, we need to slow down. So anyway, I'm thinking this guy's probably in big trouble. I need to pull off my jacket. I need to give him something to get warm real quick. So I'm starting to do that, and we're approaching. And by the time I get my jacket most of the way off, he's right there at the corner of the front of the car. And
so he looks pale? Is that what you're saying?
He looked like an albino with a very bluish kind of undertone. If you could imagine,
So you're assuming you're immediately associating that with he's freezing.
Yeah, because that's all I could equate it to.
Right.
And then as I'm starting to open my door to try to administer aid to this guy, the dude in the front passenger seat screams he's got no ears, and I thought that was pretty rude. Because I was like, the guy's in trouble.
Does he have a hat on? He's
got a hat on, and he's got BDUs that look absolutely clean, pristine. And when you're uprange, you do not wear your cleanest uniform. You're in a dirty environment. You wear your scuffed up boots. You don't take them with you.
So he's got a clean battle dress uniform.
Everything.
United States military.
Very out of place. Yeah, it looks very out of place when I finally do it. But anyway, I step out onto the roadway, and this guy screams that he's got no ears. And I just thinking it's really rude. And then I close the door and I look up, and he's got no freaking ears, and his eyes are twice as big. And I just am like, yeah, what the hell did I just walk into? This guy's not from around here.
How far away from him are you?
Probably from me to
just a few feet.
Yeah, just talking distance.
Okay.
And I'm starting to freak out. But then he starts to talk to me, and it's not my language, but it's coming to the understanding is like coming into my mind about every word he's saying. Because
so he's actually saying words.
He's saying words, but it doesn't sound like anything I've heard before.
But you're understanding what he's saying.
But I'm understanding. So I know there's a telepathic thing going on here, and it calms me down at the same time because I'm having to respond to him. And he's like, hello, I'm having trouble with my craft. I need some repair material. Do you know where I could find some tritium? And this is what he's talking to me about. And I'm like, you mean titanium? Because I didn't know anything about tritium at the time. But titanium, he's like, no, it's not it. And I'm like, well, at this point in my career, I had just left the program. So I knew where Dreamland was. And I pointed to the mountain range because you can see for days in the desert. But I pointed towards the mountain range and I said, Dreamland's just over there. And this wave of emotion hit me like disgust. Like, I am not going to talk to those barbarians and murderers. You know, and
Wow. So he was saying that to you, like his reaction to going to the military base. Was,
exactly. Yeah.
I was
But
not
he did
gonna
not like it. He said, I am not going to talk to those people. And then I was like, well, shoot.
And it was barbarians and murderers?
He literally, that was what he called them, yes. And mentally, that's what it was. But the emotion.
Tritium, is this a real thing?
Well, that's what, I've had a lot of friends. There's analysts also that were on the top secret network that were trying to help me understand what material.
We were throwing everything at him. We're like, is it this? Is it this? And he's
and then
like,
finally,
no.
that's the one. When they hit tritium, I was like, that's what it was.
So you're thinking at this time, though, it's a metal.
I am, yes.
Right, because you're thinking it's some kind of like titanium, some type of.
Right. And there's also when he.
This is the 3D image of what the craft looks
That
like?
is almost as spot on as I've ever seen. That is about it right there. That's almost exactly what I saw resting on the desert floor.
And so you were trying to find different people that you can connect this being to.
Yeah.
And what is it saying to you while you're?
He thought that was a good idea, I think, or he was like, I mean, made him. He had that kind of, and he wanted to take action. So he doesn't really even say goodbye. He just kind of turns and off he goes back to his craft. And I'm thinking, well, okay. And I get back in the car.
How would you like that one? That would be a good day, huh? Fucking run into.
Bell, take me with you, bro.
Take me to your leader. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting for sure. Let's get into this. So, where do we start? At the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Just start at the beginning. We're gonna
That
get into
stuff
this.
last night was crazy.
We don't have a lot of time, so again, we're gonna roll this for now for a little bit, and then tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, but Friday, the Friday night or Friday Night Live, we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get deep into this and show you some things that maybe you didn't know that are. So some of the stuff that you heard, I'm gonna preface this. Some of the things that you heard from like Candace and others about different things that happened around the time of the Charlie Kirk assassination is gonna fucking really go. You're gonna go, oh, now it makes sense. Because all this different things, they don't make sense unless you're able to put all the pieces together. That's why we do this work, is so we can put the pieces together and find out exactly what we're looking at. Because, they talk about Egyptian planes and, all these different things, but nothing makes sense. But when you really look at, and, we're talking about drones, and they were saying there was no drones, and they were saying there was drones, and then we seen drones, and there's drone footage, and, all these different things, right? And so when you see this, it kind of makes sense. And by the way, I'm going to just say it now. And for those of you that don't know, maybe you just think I'm a fucking whack job. Fine. You don't have to believe anything I ever say. I'm going to tell you that everything that I do my best to give you straight down the middle. And I do my best to not bullshit anybody. When I'm saying something, it's what I really believe. I want to preface that. I want to preface this also. Jeffrey Epstein is involved. Let's let that sit right there. Jeffrey Epstein is involved. Okay. Now bye.
We're getting numb as a society of seeing people die.
Well, the Charlie Kirk thing fucking opened up my eyes.
Yeah.
I never expected so many people would celebrate that man's murder.
That is evil. That's
bizarre. It's just bizarre. Like normal people that I think they're good people, and they genuinely think that guy was a bad guy. And I don't think they're right, and I think they were indoctrinated. And I don't agree with everything that Charlie Kirk said or did.
I don't care if he was a bad guy or
he's
not.
not a bad guy.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see anybody die.
First of all, he's fucking your age, right?
Yeah.
He's a young guy, right? And he would go around to college campuses and have arguments with people, or have discussions with people, have debates with people.
Yep.
But it infuriated people because they felt like this guy is going against the progress that was being made in society. But what he did not feel like was progress. Like it was a progressive agenda that was being pushed in most college campuses. It's a leftist, Marxist sort of agenda. He didn't feel like that was the correct way to live. And he felt like he had arguments against it. And he wanted, and it was, it's a business too, right? Like he developed this big social media platform because of it. And I don't, like I said, I don't agree. I don't think some of the things he said, he should have said, but the fact that people were cheering when he died, normal people, housewives, moms, like fucking people working at banks, people working at various industries, celebrating a man getting shot in front of his kids, in the front of the whole world.
That's
like,
evil.
What the fuck is wrong with us?
And it's just really weird now.
It's really weird, and it's celebrated to hate people. And that's the weird part. And most of us know that that's wrong. And that's why, like, when this Charlie Kirk thing happens, there's a giant blowback, and most people recognize, like, hey, as a collectively, as a society, this is not right. Regardless of whoever that person is, whether that person's on the left or the right, they just got shot in front of the whole world. It's not a thing to celebrate ever. And especially when you're seeing people on the left that are supposed to be progressives. These are supposed to be the kind, compassionate, inclusive people that are celebrating gun violence, public execution. Like, that's insane. That's a public assassination. That's insane.
Wow, look at that. Look at that.
And from that point, he was like a general directing a battle where he was, grabbing people and saying, okay, we need to get to the hospital and we need to do these things. And you guys need to wait here. I need to get in here to get information so that I can get it to Erica. And when we learned he was dead, he came out and he told us, and then he says, now.
Someone here. Takes care of him.
We have multiple eyewitnesses saying that Charlie Kirk has been shot in the neck, that they saw blood spray.
Why did those bags not get opened up? Why not treat him on the spot?
Well, he was done, dude. I mean, that's beside the point, but he got. Yeah, there wasn't going to be enemy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
why
no,
those
absolutely.
bags
Those
should have
bags should have been.
Those bags should have been opened up immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Leaves questions. Leaves you with a lot of questions. I mean, I've been through footage forever. I mean, since this whole thing started, and I hadn't seen that footage. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd seen it, but I didn't realize what I was looking at. And now I see, oh wow, they're just nonchalantly carrying medical bags around. You know what I mean? But none of them are open, and there's two EMTs right there. And you think that as soon as that would have happened, they would have ran straight to him. You know what I mean? It leaves so many questions with that. Anyway.
That if the shot, well, the answer is if the shot didn't get him, the lack of help would have. That's the truth right there.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Okay, so I'm going to show you we're going to show you the chest shot. Now, Charlie Kirk was shot twice. I'll just let you know this right now. He was shot twice. He was shot behind the ear from above, a high shot down, verified. Shot here. Because remember, the coroner said that there was a bullet lodged in his spine. Remember that? And so nobody could understand how a 30-06 would, from 140 feet, 140 yards
in front of
him, come in and hit his vertebrae and go down. I mean, it's just 30-06. First of all, once it hits you, if it hits anything on the way, it takes everything with you. I mean, we've watched the ballistics over and over and over, and so it goes in like small and it comes out big. It would have tore his head off if he got shot.
It's meant for big game,
and so that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say about that is it makes complete sense because us that know about even I'm no expert, but I knew that when I seen the blood coming out of his neck, I knew it was an exit wound, period. I mean, there's no way that was an entry wound. First of all, entry wound doesn't look like that. That's an exit wound. And that's so it went in here and it went through and came out there. That was shot one. That was shot number one. Shot number two was in his chest. Now, why they didn't tell you this, why they've hidden this, why there's so much cover up during this whole thing, whether it's from UVU, from Turning Point USA, from COVID, whatever the fuck his name is, Andrew COVID, and all those people and everything that we've seen and all the stuff that we've seen all over the internet all this time, why nobody has said he got shot twice. But I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you the chest shot right now, and it's unbelievable that there's the person that shot him in the chest is not in jail. That like nobody knows that. I mean, they talked about it. They talked about the guy with the palm pistol. They talked about the guy with the cell phone, which were, by the way, Apaches. There's like 3 Apaches that we know of that was on site during this time. And one of them was supposedly on the roof with a 30-06 that shot Charlie, which is not true. By the way, if you know anything about how they operate, whether it's the blue and white people or the CIA or the whoever it is, they don't give Apaches guns with firing pins. They don't give them real live ammo. They don't give them the things that they need to perform the task that they think that they're going to do. Whatever they are doing, they're patsies. They're just there for distraction. Zen, remember, I shot him. Remember, that was the first thing that happened. The guy with the pistol walking through the crowd with the pistol in his hand, another patsy, and then Tyler Robinson, Robinson, supposedly on the roof, that nobody could place him on the roof. Nobody's seen him on the roof, right? Change clothes, all the different things, right? So those are 3 patsies. Let me show you this real quick.
Guys understand exactly what's going on here, so that when people talk to you about this, you're educated. You're not just, coming off of the hip and just saying, hey, I think that it happened like this. No, you can actually know what actually happened, right? So let's go from here. All right, the palm shooter that you see here. Now, you guys will remember from the second video, I used this. The palm shooter, and this is very easy to understand what I'm about to tell you. All right, the palm shooter's job was to make sure that he hit Charlie Kirk in the center mass. That was to make sure that you believe, that the audience believed, that he was hit in the front. He was never meant to get hit in the front by either of the patsies. I repeat, he was never meant to get shot in the front by either of the patsies. It just wasn't a thing, okay? The patsies did not have operational weapons that could have done anything to anybody. I'm just being honest about that, all right? The only one that I have a question about is what I call the cell phone patsy. And before I even show you this, let's go back to the cell phone patsy just real quick, all right? Where are we at? Here we go. So this person right here, this dot right here, this is what I call the cell phone patsy. The person who was sitting right here next to Charlie Kirk, and they're in the white T-shirt, and it looks like they kind of ratchet one of the cell phone guns to get ready to shoot, and it looks like it actually recoiled in the video. Not gonna lie about it. It looks like it recoiled. Wasn't able to catch a frame for a bullet. Wasn't able to catch any entry, and wasn't able to catch anything plausible that says that he was exactly shot by that gun. Even if the gun did go off, there was no real bullet in it. When the patsies are given their weapons and given their missions and their weapons, they're ineffectual. They're there for show. They're there to, in case the camera goes that way or in case the public perception goes that way, that can be the patsy that they actually get. So, and it's always to hide the actual real shooters. In this case, we have 3 confirmed patsies. And if you'll see right here, there's the guy I was talking to you about right here at the top. And it's like the ratcheting of the gun. The very next frame, Charlie is shot. But I truly believe that this person that was a patsy was in on it with this guy who's doing the motion right here. He's giving the motion right here. So the very next frame he shot. I believe this person was in on all of it, but I don't believe they gave him anything real. That's just my theory on that. And if he was given anything, he would have been given maybe the detonation device for anything that would have been right here. He would have been the one to kind of set that detonation device off. And I seen these guys all handing off something when Charlie went down. I'm kind of wondering if it was the fact that this did not explode and they were getting this off of him and kind of removing that and getting out of the scene. That's just a theory. That is purely speculation, what I just said right there. That has nothing to do with the facts that I'm about to show you. I'm just guessing for the white T-shirt cell phone gun guy that I'm calling him. I don't know what he was doing, but I know it had to be something, and it was in correlation with his operation, with the whole Operation 322. This person had to be a part of it, in my opinion. That's my very strong opinion about him. So let's move on. I don't want to make this too long for you guys. We covered a lot in part 2. Let me see here. I want to go back, and that was down here, I believe. Here it is. So I want to go back in here, and I want to kind of show you this again. Now, as you'll remember in part 2, we went off of the beam that's bouncing off of his cell phone right here, right? The beam just before he was shot. We showed you the little bumping out of the neck, the first little bumping out of the neck that happened right here. What else? We showed you. Oh, we showed you after the bumping out of the neck because of the bullet coming in right here and expanding out the neck, pushing it out to the front left. Okay, front and left. And if you can see me up here, I'll put myself down here. There we go. I'll go right here. Front left. Bullet comes in like this to the back, and it comes out right here. Okay, and it expanded all of this when His neck looked like a tree trunk for the flash of a second. So I showed you all of that in part 2 and what that looks like when the bullet creates a cavity, a temporary cavity inside of an expanding cavity inside of a inside of a structure, a human structure, or any kind of structure that is like an organic based kind of material. It's not a solid, it's an organic based kind of material. So it creates a huge cavity. And that's what happened to the inside of Charlie's body when that first bullet actually landed and hit him. Let me move this. When the first bullet actually landed and came down into Charlie, right here, it created a huge cavity that pushed to the front left and pushed all of this out and made his body sink down, his shirt hop up. And as his shirt hopped up, this guy shot him, and right in the front center mass of the shirt. And I showed you guys that picture as well, too. At the end of this is all kind of like a little bit of a recap, okay? Now, we're going to take this recap and we're going to scale it up a little bit because I want to show you guys, let me see. Let me pull up that picture from you so you can see, you can be kind of on track. There you go. When the shirt was already up in the air, this is where the second shot landed from the palm shooter. And mind you, this guy's on Charlie's detail team. Now, I also, security detail, I also showed you, you know, how this guy right here basically gave the order. I showed you how he backed himself up, and in backing himself up, he hit his arm, and he gave a signal off of his arm. He stuck his arm into the sunlight, as you kind of see right there. But go over video 2 and you can see, you know, all of that again for yourself. So
So that's pretty straightforward as far as that goes. Now, when we come back on Friday, we're going to get into the where this guy goes into his episode. We'll skip 4, and we'll go because that was in 2 and then or 3, and then we're going to skip 4. We're going to go to 5, and then we're going to show you that Charlie shot by drone. So that's where we're going to go, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you exactly how it happened. It's going to be the same thing that happened in Gaza. We're going to connect it to Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to connect it to the blue and white. We're going to connect it to all those things that we know is true, but everybody's afraid to talk about it. So Friday, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be here and we're going to cover it, and I'll get everything ready for Friday for that. And we'll be back on Wednesday. Let's see. We're going to be back on Wednesday. Let me check the date. I have
first.
Yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. There's one Wednesday a month that I won't be here, but it won't be this week, so we'll be good. So we'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you, John, for being here.
Thank
We're
you.
going to get prepared for this, and I'm going to show you all the details so that way you're like, I have no doubt that this is exactly how it happened and why listen. I'm just going to call it. We're going to call it like we see it, and why the White House, the FBI, the Utah Sheriff, Police Department, the investigators, TPUSA, all of Charlie's friends, except for a couple like Candace, like nobody is taking this serious. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, you think that somebody that was as loyal as Charlie Kirk, you'd think that the people that were around you would be loyal to you. And I'm not going to get into the Erica Kirk thing and all that stuff that's going on and, you know, blah, 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 all that stuff. We're not doing that. We're specifically looking at how Charlie was shot and who did it and how it happened and then why nobody is being honest about it. Money. We know that he had millions of dollars missing. We know that he came out against, Israel. We know that they didn't like that he was against the Iran war. Funny thing that, we're in an Iran war now. All the different things that contribute to this, and Jeffrey Epstein plays a major part. Jeffrey Epstein, I believe, is still alive, never was dead. I believe that Tony Rodham was put in his place at the jail, and they carted Tony Rodham out. Hillary Clinton's brother that died 2 weeks before. We showed you that. We proved that already. Maybe we'll pull that back up so you can see that. We're going to roll right into the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. as well, because listen, I said it last week. It's all connected, all of it. The corruption, the Epstein files, the Charlie Kirk assassination, the kids, all of it. It's all connected. There's more than that too. Why is supposedly the FBI taking bribes from, foreign countries for $5 million? Like, I'm just saying, how come Bongino all of a sudden went back to his podcast to talk shit about everybody that's against talking shit about the truth? Because that's all we're doing. We're just calling it like we see it. It's not like we're making shit up. We're just calling it like we see it. And he's over every day. He's on his show talking about how everybody that goes against the narrative, which is the White House narrative or the FBI narrative or the Israel narrative, or whatever. If you don't go with that, you're the problem. We're going to get into all that. That's going to probably be another, we're going to just keep going. Because remember, I said it last month. We're not letting up on the Charlie Kirk thing. We're not letting up on the Epstein thing. We're just not. And we're not going to let the Iran war distract us from the truth, because the truth is they do this kind of stuff to get us get us on our heels, so we can't see the truth. And we're not going to let that happen.
Smoke and mirrors, man.
Smoke and mirrors. And I don't give a shit who it is. I do not care. The truth is Charlie Kirk was shot at national TV in front of the world, and it just got swept right up under the rug. And now you got a bunch of people tearing down his empire while he's gone. And, there's the other people. We can't forget the part that, they're doing. Oh, Charlie Kirk's in witness protection program and all. They got that too. He's still alive. They got that thing going. They got that brewing in the background. So they still have that too. So, but we're not going to get into that. Like, if you could show me proof that Charlie's alive, I'll look at it. But until I have some form of something that works in that, I'm not going there. I'm not going to, how do you say it? I'm not going to disrespect the dead. Okay.
And that's what it is. All these people not wondering and fucking chasing who did it. It's disrespectful, man.
Dude.
That blows me away. The loyalty of these people is just.
Hey, like I said last night.
Fucking snakes.
Like I said last night, if this happens to me, ever happens to me, don't you take your foot off the gas until you find out what happened, the truth, and you don't let nobody lie to you and tell you that it was something else than it wasn't, because no, we're not doing that. You shouldn't, and you shouldn't. And Tucker said it yesterday. He was like, no, all this stuff that's going on with all these different elements and stuff, and all of a sudden he's blackballed because he's telling the truth, and now he's a Qatari agent because he's just doing his job, which is to be a journalist, to tell the fucking truth, period. Not anything else.
No sides, just
no sides. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. It needs to be, regardless of who it is. And that's why I've come a long way in the last year. Since all this has happened, I've came a long way, man. And you know what? If Trump is involved or whoever's involved, we're gonna just say it. I don't give a shit. What are they gonna do? Can't fucking eat me. You know what I mean? Can't eat me.
That's it, man.
So anyway, I wish I had more time to just stay here all night and do this, but I don't. So we'll be back on Friday for this. I will be back on Wednesday for the Wednesday night show. We're not doing one tomorrow night because I have to give my wife some time, and I did this one tonight. So, I have to be mindful of my wifey, or I'll be
happy
sleeping,
wife, happy
or
life.
else I'll be sleeping in my studio, and there's no bed, so I don't want to sleep in my chair. Okay. So we got to be mindful of my wife and my kids and all that. So we won't be here tomorrow night, but we will be here Wednesday, and we'll be here Friday, and we'll be here Saturday, and we'll, so forth. So God bless you all.
On.
John, thank you for being here. I know that I've kind of hogged up the mic tonight, but I have had a lot. This is this is something that I know a lot about because I've dug in so deep. It's not like some clip that we've run across and we've kind of tried to dissect it a little bit to put it out. This is something that I've been like my ear to the grind, dude, just constantly doing this because, and truthfully, bug in my throat. Truthfully, I didn't agree with Charlie on a lot of things.
Me neither. Me neither.
I don't agree with. I mean, he had kind of turned off he got off the Israel path, and all that stuff. But I just don't. There's just things that I didn't agree with. But what happened to him was wrong. Period. Doesn't matter who you are. It wouldn't matter who it was.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So anyway.
Right is right, dude. And
Right is right. Exactly. So thank you all for being here. I have I had another clip but it's 10 minutes long. I'm gonna break it down and make it to where it doesn't bore you because there's a lot of talking in between. I just think it'd be better. And besides, I don't want to give it away. I want to kind of build up on this one because I want people to see this. Because, like I said, the guy that did this work, he's a nobody. Nobody knows him. Nobody knows him. He doesn't have a big following, just like me. And hopefully, this stuff gets out there, and then we can have public execution of I don't know, probably somebody in the federal government, because if they've covered this up, they need to. That's where treason comes in, I think. So I really think that the FBI has a problem right now because they had their hands on it first. And they made all those great talking points about how they 33 hours and all that bullshit. You know what I mean? But yet it didn't look good. So I'm not gonna say that. We're just hypothetically we're gonna say this is for how they say that on TikTok. This is just for educational purposes. That's all this is. Okay. God bless you all. We'll see you on Wednesday.